What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of bRho Talk. I have my fellow co-host here, Mark Guthrie, aka Bruiser, since he got it on there. So I said his first and last name. And then we got Isaac Bliss. Oh man, I said
What's up? What's good, man?
what
Happy
up, what
Monday,
up?
everybody.
Yeah, man, happy Monday. Happy President's Day.
Oh, that's what it today is?
For those who celebrate
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
I knew it was, I knew it was something that took away from the shine of Black History Month. Yeah, because when they came with that holiday, Barack wasn't a president yet. So
Nah, not yet. Not at that time, no. But
then we
there
have
was
another
already a black president, though. But it was in the Confederate States, if I remember correctly. There was a
Oh, I
black
mean, it was
president.
Lincoln's birthday this month too, right?
Yeah,
You saying he like part black?
yeah. Lincoln's, I think,
Like
Native American, black,
196 black or something
somewhere,
like
man. Yeah, I think he related to Barack Obama. To be honest with
that.
you,
Yeah.
shout out to my president.
Trump need to see both of their passports, man.
Yeah. Nah, I need to see that and an enhanced ID. How about that?
Yeah.
Oh man, about to bring on B right now. B, what's up? Our other fellow co-host. Welcome, brother.
What's good, bros?
Chilling, man.
Chilling.
So today we got a show. People that are coming on now. We're gonna talk about love, but we're gonna talk about it from a different perspective. We're gonna talk about love in the sense of how do we teach our kids to love? How does that happen? What does it look like? So we want to have that conversation, especially among black men. I was earlier today listening to a message online, but I had already heard this story about how there was a young man who never heard from his parents, "I love you." And that same young man went on to college and got into a relationship with somebody he thought was going to be his true love. And she ended up cheating on. And I guess from that day forward, this person made a pact with themselves, and I'm summarizing. And that person just so happens to be or was you can call him legendary, some may call him that, or controversial, but Hugh Hefner, the person who started Playboy. So there's a lot that can happen when love is
Definitely legendary.
Demonstrated or not demonstrated in ways. So yeah, I want to talk about that. And then of course it's Black History Month. So all month for everybody that's been watching, we celebrating all things Black history. If you are new to our show, we talk about Black history every month. But for this month particularly, we've been ramping it up a little bit more. So we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about the fraternities and sororities, Black Greek letter organizations, also called BGLOs. Some call it the Divine Nine. People that's from the early 90s, mid 90s.
Elite Eight.
Call it the Elite Eight. So it really just depends on what era you came in through. But there's a lot of history in that. So we want to welcome everybody that's here. Go ahead and
Hold up. The BG, what's that? I'm new to this. What's the
Black
BG?
Greek letter organization.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Bro, you old school, man.
Hey,
You old school.
Yo, I don't want nobody to be talking about the other thing on the other side mixed with this thing. You know what I'm saying? So
right. I got you.
So that's why I asked.
I got a question for Brew too later. I don't know when we're gonna get into it, but I'm gonna throw it out there now, and I just want you to be stirring your thoughts on it, Brew, because one of the brothers who is an avid follower and watcher of the show, he's Jamaican, from Jamaica. He's actually in Jamaica now, and we were talking earlier, and he mentioned that he's not really feeling the Bob Marley One Love.
Oh, B, you wasn't even in on the conversation. We had already talked about it. We're gonna get there. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I heard, and so I'm hearing, from what he's sharing, that back in the yard, they're not feeling it either. So I want to get your thoughts on it, because you straight from, he said, I'm a country boy, so I want to get your thoughts on it when we get to it, when we get a chance.
Yeah, I told Brandy you was from Jamaica. She was like, "For real?" I was like, "Hold on." I said, "He from Jamaica. He from Jamaica." So yeah, we definitely want to hear.
Ready to know?
Nah, she thought New York. I'm like Brooklyn. I'm like, nah, he's from the island.
She should have known that. Brooklyn, if you from New York City, anywhere from the boroughs, you by default are from somewhere else. You
Absolutely, man.
You just don't happen to be in the boroughs.
Hey.
By way of, you know what I mean?
By way of. So, hey, so anybody that's watching, go ahead and put something in the comments for us. Just let them know you watching. Just say what's up. Want to know who's with us today. Everybody that's been on the show knows that you put a comment in there, we are prone to talk about it. So go ahead and put anything's in the comment, anything that relates to you, anything you might disagree with. Go ahead and put that in the comment. We love having a conversation. Again, this show is about brothers, being fathers, being sons, uncles, and all that in between, and just talking about different issues that are going on and different things, different topics. So, all right, bro, let's get into it. So here's my question. Can you say, actually, I don't want to do a yes or no question. Let me rephrase that. What's the value of telling your son and daughter or sons and daughters that you love them? Because I'm sure that many of us have uncles or even dads in our experiences of people that we know who've never said, I love you for anything, even a graduation, a wedding, and so what's the value of just saying, I love you to your kids?
So without going too deep, right? I would say, and the reality is we're social beings, right? You know what I mean? There's no getting around our need for connection with other people. You know what I mean? That's just what it is, and again, I said I wasn't going to get too deep, but I just
go ahead, man. You good? Good. It's our show.
In the Bible, God said, he said it wasn't good that man would be alone. And so he would make him a helpmate,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, that is, in the context of our spouses, but I think, you know what I mean, just from the standpoint of he's saying it wasn't good that we would be alone, it speaks to there needing to be a connection for us with other people. Right. And so, when you think about that, like, you know what I mean? When you ask the question, what's the value or what's the substance of telling our kids, you know what I mean? What's the value of anything we do, in the sense that anything we don't do, somebody else will identify the void there, fill it. And now it creates a door of opportunity for them to, to infiltrate and manipulate and do all sorts of, you know what I mean? So I think the more holes we make sure are filled in the lives of our children, the less opportunity we give for them to come in and be, you know what I mean, kind of, groomed, manipulated, perverted, twisted. Just, I think that's the responsibility of a parent, you know what I mean? So I think that starts with I love you, but goes as far as making sure that, you know what I mean, we teach our children or model and groom for them what dating should look like, what, you know what I mean, how to interpret or endure loss. That's life in general. I think just making sure that we fill the voids and the gaps, so that way there's not room for, people to come in and do negative things to them.
So what types of love exist, right? So there's, and let's look at it from a secular point of view for right now. So I know from the spiritual point of view, there's the brotherly love, there's love between you and a spouse, and then there's that love that is just unyielding or unwilling. I don't know if I'm using the right word, but there's that love. You just love through it all, like good, bad, and different. Like there's that godly love right there. No, Isaac, it's not Hugh Hefner love. That's lust. But but what type of love is out there, man? Because like I've seen video. I don't know who it was. I can't remember, man. But who was the dad that was kissing his kids on the mouth and they was like older? Is that Lil Wayne? Somebody.
That was Baby and Lil Wayne.
That was Baby and Lil Wayne. That's different. That's not a biological dad.
It's something else. I know what you're talking about, Kareem.
You know what I'm talking about, right? It was, yeah. But like, I guess what's the boundary? Where's the line, right? Because I'll give an example.
That's not
Like,
fair though. You know,
okay,
and
talk
I don't
about
mean
it.
to cut you off.
Let Kareem go. I want to know where he's going with it, because I was going to touch on that, and there's a lot of things I want to touch on. So I'm just listening to y'all brothers. But go ahead, Kareem.
So the point I'm trying to make is that part of love is boundaries, right? And so I love my daughter, but I don't touch my daughter in any type of way. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't I don't touch my daughter the same way I would touch my wife. It's two different things. You know, and I think we see cases of young children being molested and assaulted and raped because the person that was close to them that they thought loved them in a way that was harmful. And so that's why I'm bringing that up, because it's something that happens in our community.
But is that love though? If you got to molest your own child,
right? I 100% say it's not love. You know what I'm saying? Like 100%.
What do you have to be thinking about in order to get yourself to do that, right? So the person that like you wouldn't understand that, right?
Yeah.
Like there's none of us on this call that would understand that, because that's just like that's foreign. But there's that perversion out there, right? We know that it exists, right? So what is going through those individuals' minds? I don't know. I don't think it's love, right? I wouldn't call it love. Like whatever that feeling is, that's a Hugh Hefner love, right? That we put in there.
Yeah, we keep bringing him up. Like,
he gone now.
Yeah, that's right. He's not making money. So. But I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
I couldn't call that love at all. I couldn't call that love at all, man.
Let me just touch on real quick. So when you know kind of mentioned not being, you know what I mean, I mentioned not being fair, and what I was referring to is my wife had a coworker who was whose parents were from India.
Okay.
And the men kissed their sons on the mouth. I mean, and so when his dad would show up to work, you know what I mean, come and, you know, see him at his job or whatever, like he was expecting to be greeted or to greet his son according to their cultural norms and customs. You know what I mean? And his son, my wife's coworker, it made him, I mean, extremely uncomfortable, because, you know, him being raised here, having embraced Western ideas and culture and civilization, it was not a norm for him in the same way that it was for his father, in the sense that you know, yeah, you were raised that way growing up in India, and yes, in our household growing up, that's how you have raised and reared me. But it was, again, that kind of struggle where the reality is we don't live in a homogenous society, so you get exposed to a lot. And then, you know, it's perceived as, you know, one thing or another if you embrace another, you know what I mean, person, you know, that kind of way, and just all the different stigmas associated or related to it. He struggled with it. My point is, I just feel like when there are norms that might be culturally acceptable, and so that's, and I want to contextualize it by saying culturally, because, you know, people can say, a person would say, oh yeah, well, this is our norm. Well, cultural norms, you know what I mean, would dictate if that is a norm for that community to embrace, you know what I mean, a certain way. So you know what I mean, culturally speaking, I don't know a culture that embraces, you know what I mean, that perversion or perverted type of love or affection expressed from parent to child. So contextually speaking, you know, I think it should be within what's acceptable within the norms of a particular culture.
I think it's what's acceptable in the norms of your house, right? So my thing is this: I don't see anything wrong with kissing your son. I kiss my son all the time, right? And I kiss my daughters, you know, on the cheek or whatever like that. And there is no connection of the way that I would kiss Ezra to the way that I kiss any of my children, right? And there's no difference between the way that I kiss any of my children with any of my other children, right? That feeling, those emotions are still there, like that, and they're different, right?
Mhm.
You know, so I think, so going back to the whole idea of, you know, a man and his son, right, and kissing his son, like, why wouldn't you, right? Why wouldn't you show him that love and affection? Why wouldn't you
Because it's
show
gonna
him
make them
what?
soft, right? That's what people say.
That's America.
How does it make him
America.
soft, or does that,
That's
or you have
America, and
homophobic
it's
tendencies?
America and the
You know, you have
Caribbean.
homophobic fears
Certain,
of thinking that if I kiss him, he's gonna think that, or
Say that again, Isaac.
people are gonna
Say that again. That's a
perceive me
good
that
point.
way. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? That's the question that I think people have to ask themselves, right?
Yeah.
What is the reason that you wouldn't do it, right? Not necessarily looking at somebody else that does do it.
Hold that thought. What were you gonna say, bro? Because hold that thought. I want to definitely
I
touch
grew
on
up
that.
I grew up in a house, bro, where how you start off the program. I was never told by my father, or my mom, that son, I love you. I can't, never, ever.
That's
You
that West
understand what I'm
Indian
saying?
stuff, though, man.
Yo, we don't get that crap, man.
At
We don't
all,
get that,
at all.
right? So now we in a society that when we're gonna have our offsprings, we got to be like, yo, that's not right, because I'm out with my peoples, or I'm at my people's house, and I heard dad come and be like, hey, Ike, man, I love you, I love you, fella. You know what I'm saying? Kareem and say, hey, he's coming and be like, hey, Kareem, you pissed me off yesterday, but I love you. You know what I'm saying? Same thing for Mr. Smith. He said, hey, B, you my guy, man. I love you, man. Thanks for the, you know, for the dinner you brought home or something like that, right? And I'm looking like, hey, these dudes get this. You know what I'm saying? And I've been around a lot of people, man. And I'm gonna say this: my high school coach is my father figure right now. He's been my father figure since I entered high school. There's no day that I see him face to face, or even when I talk to him on the phone, he don't say, son, I love you. I'm not used to that. You know what I'm saying? But I have to learn. I have to learn how to say, Dad, I love you too, right? And over the years, throughout college, high school, I just didn't know how to deal with all that. You know what I'm saying? College, like my sophomore year, I started picking up on some stuff because I started growing here. You know what I'm saying? And it also helped. It also messed up relationships too, because knowing how to love somebody and knowing how to not make sure women take advantage of you, all that shit happened to me. All that stuff happened to me. Excuse my language. You know what I'm saying? It all happened. It's a part of it. What happened to you, Hefner? I get it. You know what I'm saying? I get it. You know, but I was in a church. I was in a church in the Rock that my pastor was like another father figure to me, right? And then I have older sisters. You know, so that's my pastor's daughter. That's Doris. You know what I'm saying? And we got Rachel. I got all those people around me, right? And then I got the brotherhood. You know what I'm saying? That I could go to any one of my brother's house in Rochester and see how they do their thing. So me being a smart person, I start capture all of that. You know what I'm saying? And see how stuff's supposed to be. I never want to come home back to Brooklyn. I never want to go home, bro. I go home every summer for like a week. And then I'm back on a bus or on a flight coming back to the Rock. You understand what I'm saying? Because the Rock was my foundation. People be like, yo, I said, I miss the Rock. I don't miss the snow though, but I miss the Rock, right? So, because I learned a lot about life in Rochester, right? I have two beautiful kids, right? I have a 6-year-old and I have a 1-year-old. And my daughter is 1. I don't know who's out there gonna tell me I can't kiss my daughter, right? I'm gonna hug up on her, I'm gonna kiss her, right? There's boundaries, of course, right? There's boundaries, right? When I was changing my daughter for the first time, I feel weird doing it.
It's
You know what I'm
a
saying?
weird feeling, man. Yeah.
I feel weird doing it. You understand what I'm saying? My son, that's my road dog. Everywhere I go, it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like my backpack, man. He's everywhere with me, right? So I'm gonna kiss him. I kiss him every time before he's leaving to go back to his mom's house. You know what I'm saying? Who's gonna tell me I can't kiss my son? You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go Jamaica. Being in Jamaica is like that, man. I could say that, but I show love, man. Love is the answer to a lot of these things that's going on. The world said for you to be like this, if this is that, this is that. No, man. Love your kids the way you want to love your kids. But there's boundaries, and you got to understand boundaries. The girls is different from the guy. You know what I'm saying? Your daughter's different from your son. You know what I'm saying? You got to teach them all the things they need to know. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm into my son life. That's like everybody here on this platform. We're into our kids' life. You know what I'm saying? Whether people say, "Oh, we may spoil them a little bit," I'd rather me spoiling them or somebody spoiling them, or they learn. Right? They need to learn how to love people. Right? I think Josiah is out in the community giving stuff out. You understand what I'm saying? When I take Josiah, like, say for instance, this December, Josiah didn't have a Christmas, right? So his money, I told him what I was going to do with his money because he wasn't acting good in school. I said, I'm going to use your money. I'm going to buy 2 bags of ice cream for these kids in Jamaica. You know what I'm saying? He said, yeah, Dad, okay, Dad. You know what I'm saying? That's what I did with Josiah's money. And I told him when I go to Jamaica, ice cream. They get ice cream on day before Christmas and on Christmas Day. I said, this is from my son to y'all. There's like 50 kids in the community. It's more than 50, but at a time that came to get ice cream. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what I do. Right? And I took a picture of it and I sent it to his mother to show it to him. This is where your Christmas money went. Feeding these kids ice cream. You understand what I'm saying? He has to know how to give back. He has to know how to love people. He has to know how to love his sister. His sister got to know how to love him. Right? I'm teaching all those little things, little by little. They far in distance, but it still can happen because the world we live in have social medias or stuff to do that we could still connect that. You know, now I'm hearing him talk about, oh, my sister, my sister. You know what I'm saying? I like that. In my mind, I said, yes, you get it. You know what I'm saying? It's a 5-year difference. You understand what I'm saying? So it is a big difference. So love your kids, man, the way you want to, man. I don't care what nobody doing. I'm from Jamaica, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm a country boy. We don't get that. I got that from my grandfather. I ain't get that from my mom. I ain't get that from my daddy. You know what I'm saying? God bless his soul. It is what it is, though.
You know what? You know what though? Interesting thought. Like, cause and I don't know what year your pops was born, right? My dad was born in 1943, raised by a man who was born 1920. You know what I mean? So you're talking about a generation where that wasn't what was necessarily passed down to them. I can vividly remember the first time I saw my dad cry. It was at my Uncle Anthony's funeral. My Uncle Anthony was the first of my dad's sibling to pass away. And the first time I ever saw my dad cry was at my Uncle Anthony's funeral. And I was 12, 13 years old, somewhere around there. I mean, I wasn't a small kid. You know what I mean? Before that, I had never seen my dad show that kind of emotion. And it was after that my dad began to loosen up in terms of like the I love yous and stuff, because what happens, and when you lose a sibling, you kind of it hits you different. You just like, man, life is short. You know what I mean? When it starts, when death starts hitting your generation, I remember that again that day. You know what I mean? That whole chain of events, man, it changed my dad in that way. You know what I mean? And but I definitely remember, kind of before that, it was like, listen, it was like we was growing up like little soldiers. My dad was in the military, so he had that kind of militant way of child rearing. You know what I mean? So for me, again, it's I saw it, then saw the shift, and kind of just I think as we all do, right? We take the things that we, you know what I mean? We take all the different things that we picked up from our parents, whether we choose to try them or not. You know what I mean? I think it's what we picked up from our parents, what we picked up from, you know what I mean, our own thoughts and ideologies about how we wanted to rear our children, and from, again, close ones we see, ones who parents who we respect and admire and all that. So we put it all together. You know what I mean?
B, you just made me think of something. I think what we see a lot with our generation, all of us that are here, I've seen people do things because of something they did not get. You know what I mean? And I understand it. I do. I understand it. I'm part of it. But I feel like there's something missing there when we do things because of something we didn't get. Because what happens sometimes is that we hyper focus on that one particular thing. Like, for example, if I grew up and I never got Christmas presents growing up, so now I made a pact to myself. I said, all right, when
we know you got Christmas presents though,
I
Kareem.
did. That's why this is hypothetical, because I did.
We know
But
you got meals too.
so
No hungry nights there.
so I mean, I also only had 4 brothers, so it was only 4 of us. But when you have kids and now you say like, no, I'm gonna make sure my kids always have presents, and then by doing that, you see a lot of people go into bad debt. You see folks just hyper focusing on making sure their kids get all the latest this and that, and then what happens is now they have children who now grow up feeling like that they are entitled to things because they always, you know what I mean? So like I think that happens a lot when it comes to love too, is that if we didn't get it, then we hyper focus on it, and then actually it turns into something bad when our intentions were really good.
That's why there's so many BBLs out there.
Probably.
Sorry.
I don't know.
The thighs don't match.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm laughing, but hey, I mean,
it very well could be.
it could be.
Yeah. I think that's a good point, Kareem. You know, one of the things that I think is important for every parent, right? The reality is in life, right? One of the things that, you know, no matter what kind of lifestyle you grew up with, if you had it very comfortably, you say, well, I want to make sure my kids have it at least as comfortably as I did, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing I feel like it is incumbent upon any parent to make sure that they're intentional about is not eliminating the struggle or struggle from from their child's life, because
that's key right there.
It is the struggle that makes us, right? It is, you know what I mean? If you do not learn how to persevere, how to, you know what I mean? And everyone, you know, or most have heard the parable of the boy and the butterfly, you know what I mean? Boy walking, you know, and he sees this cocoon and he sees it shaking, right? And he stops to observe it. He's watching it, and you know, he starts to see like the wing from the butterfly peeking out, and it dawns on him. He's like, oh, that's a butterfly. You know what I mean? And in his mind, he thinks he's doing something, you know, beneficial to the butterfly by saying, oh, I'm going to help it out. I'm going to go open up the cocoon so the butterfly doesn't have to, you know, struggle to get out anymore. Not realizing that he ultimately crippled the butterfly, because the butterfly fell out of cocoon, hits the ground, and starts to walk and flap his wings, and the wings don't propel him off the ground. Because the purpose, part of the purpose of the cocoon wasn't just the metamorphosis from caterpillar to butterfly, but it was to strengthen those wings to the point where once his wings broke through the cocoon, they would be strong enough to propel him to flight. So, you know, struggle is significant in every one of our lives. We all need to experience some sort of, you know, challenge, obstacle, struggle, rite of passage, whatever word or adjective you want to put on it. But it's what makes us and builds character.
Yeah, and it's that struggle that leads, like you said, that leads to something. You know, not struggle like you spent all your money and now you don't know where your next dollar is going to come from. Not that type of struggle. Struggle like, hey, you've been grinding, you've been saving, you've been, you know, trying to save up for that house or that car, or try to save up for that business. Like that struggle's cool. But the other struggle, man, I think we get it mixed up, B. You know, but so that was a great parable right there, man, about, you know, the boy and the I actually have never heard of that one. So you taught me something new today.
And which is more, you'll be a man.
Yes, got you. Okay, so let's go on to the next topic I want to talk about, because we've been talking about love, we've been talking about children, we've been talking about different types of love, signs of affection. But there was a gentleman that we all know that hails from Jamaica who talked about love, and particularly one love. And if you don't know who I'm talking about by now, talking about the legendary Bob Marley, and
Robert
I'll
Nesta.
I'll give a real quick experience of my own if y'all brothers want to share, and then Brew, man, we really want to hear from you on this one, being from your home country. But I can remember, man, listening to Bob when I was a kid. Man, parents just had it on in the house, and for my dad, because he's a hobby player, he used to love the bass lines on a lot of those songs. So I started listening to it because I wanted to learn how to play the bass lines. But then I started listening to the music. And Brew, I don't know if you remember, man, you had a long conversation with me about Bob Marley and just listen to the words. Like when this was in college, man. You had a
College.
long conversation. Yeah, you
Yeah.
had a long conversation with me about it, man. And
Yeah.
just so you know, I never forgot that conversation, man. I don't remember word for word, but I remember, the basic of it was like, man, you really got to listen to what he's saying, man. Like he's really talking about some things that's revolutionary.
And
You
it's
know what I
happening
mean?
now.
Happening right now. And you
Now.
said that. And you
Mhm.
said that. And you said that.
What's
So
going on in the world we live in? Like, he was ahead of his time.
yeah, well ahead of his time, man. And just even how it all kind of came to be. I saw a message earlier about like the Marley name, right? And Bob is the one that made that name famous. Not his dad, not his family, that came over and lived on the island, man. But Bob made that name famous, man. So there's a new movie out. There's an actor that's playing Bob Marley that's not Jamaican. He's actually British. I think Bob Marley was 5'6". That am I right? 5'6", 5'7",
Yeah.
and the actor 6'2". And I think we should have a conversation about that because I don't know if I mentioned it in the last one, man. But there's this almost like a British. I want to call it invasion, but there's a lot of these British actors and actresses are playing legendary American figures, like even Martin Luther King, one of the latest movies that came out, that actor's British, So, man, just want to talk about the movie and all. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to see it. I haven't seen it yet. I've been reading a lot about it, but I know in week one, because Brew, you had asked earlier before we got on, they made $52 million
Yeah.
first week in the box office. Madam Web was at like 36, so it beat out a Marvel movie for the first week, but. Yeah, man, let's talk about Bob, man. Something that I think a lot of people can
Well,
relate to.
Bob Marley, man, is like I said before, he's a legend, man. He's a legend. When you look up the dictionary, in Jamaica, Bob Marley probably one of the first between him and Marcus Garvey and Nani. Some of the people in Usain Bolt. Those probably the four that comes to mind. Not only they spend their money in Jamaica, they spend their money worldwide to people. Um, Not Nani, Nani's was, and Marcus Garvey. People know, you guys read about Marcus Garvey and
Mm-hmm.
know why he was so important.
Mm-hmm.
But Bob was wiser than his time, you know. If Bob was living now, Bob probably would have been the president of Jamaica, cleaning up Jamaica, or they would have killed him same way. Either one or two things. Because when his philosophies, man, is always driven about love, And I used to listen to Bob Marley's song, but I never used to listen to it. And one night I was driving home to New York. Me and one of my homegirl brother, we just driving home, man, and we listened to Bob Marley all the way. We left Rochester around 10 o'clock at night, snow night, and we just listened to Bob, man, and just talking about it. Like, yo, wow, did he say that? He talk about there's gonna be no peace in the Middle East. I'm saying there's haven't been no peace in the Middle East. I'm saying from all the way back then, he's singing about peace in the Middle East. All we want is just love. You know what I'm saying? He talks about just the people of Jamaica. We need to put down the guns and all this other stuff and unite. How should we unite? You know what I'm saying? So I say this man was wise. He was wise. He was rich. He was rich with knowledge that he would have been probably a better professor than he was to be a president of his country if he would have still be alive today. You know what I'm saying? That's why I think he would have got so much different doctorate degrees, honorary doctorate degrees. They would have just gave it to him. You know what I'm saying? And I could have seen him in the classroom. You know, Bob Marley still grows a year, man, yearly over $10 million gross. And you know what I'm saying? And I'm very glad that his sons and daughters never sell his rights to his music. You know what I'm saying? They have all of that. You know what I'm saying? They ain't never sell it. It's a family thing. Um, as far as the movie, I get mixed feelings. And you know, some of the people that rate. I haven't seen the movie yet, but I know I will.
Okay.
I never like to go movie when it's just came out. I like to stay back and listen, especially when it comes to black movies. I like to
Okay.
listen to it, what people say, and then go there and read for myself, look at it for myself, right?
Yeah.
So I hear the YouTubers, I hear some Jamaicans. When I listen to the Jamaicans and I listen to Americans. I listen to the Americans, Jamaicans. You know what I'm saying? The ones that was born here, then the ones that was on the ground, that born in the yard, right? So you get to understand the two different culture, right? The people in Jamaica more understanding Bob's life. From me living in Trenchtown to, his movement, his issue with politics, his issue. They try to kill him a couple of. They more understand that stuff, right? So they're gonna take it more heartfelt about certain things, right? What they don't understand that is when you're having a movie, you got to find somebody to play the role of the person, right? And they blaming Ziggy for a lot of stuff and Steven, you know what I'm saying, because they are the elder, right? You can't blame them. This actor did an excellent job. The guy that played Bob Marley did an excellent job. You're not gonna find nobody in Jamaica, and I really don't care. You're not gonna find in Jamaica to play the role the way he played it. Yes, he's a little taller. That was the only difference. He's 6'1", 6'2". Bob Marley wasn't even 6 feet tall, right? That's a difference, right? And he's from Britain. Okay, so what? Probably that dude probably have some type of Caribbean in him, because in between London, between the UK, over there, man, is a mixture. A lot of Jamaican babies running around. You know what I'm saying? A lot of around there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So who to tell? Hopefully he know who his father
That's
is.
where they get that term. Spread love is the Brooklyn way.
Well, hey, yeah, it's the Jamaica way over there. They spread love. You know what I'm saying? So who to tell? I don't know. He may come back to see that he is a part of his lineage is Jamaican. I don't know. I never look at it. I'm hearing people saying that it was boring. But if you're telling people somebody's life story, man, and if you're not really hip on the life story, some things may get boring. I'm a history buff, so for me, it's not gonna get boring to me, right? I talk about Lucky Dube, right? That's the closest thing to Bob Marley, and I keep telling y'all to look into Lucky Dube, right? He got killed in South Africa by a Nigerian. They set him up, kind of the same thing. He had the same idea like Bob. You know what I'm saying? He was smarter than these years too. If I'm supposed to watch a documentary or they put something like this about Lucky Dube, I will not get bored about it because I'm interested in learning. Instead of going to the movie to pick at the movie, I want to
be
go
entertained.
there. Yeah, I want to go there to learn something. Right? That's the difference between a lot of these Jamaicans, the ones that's born here and the ones that's born out there. The ones that's born out there, they want things perfect, and there's nothing is gonna be perfect for them people out there. You always gotta find something to say. You know what I'm saying? If it's 100 of them, you line up 100 of them, and at least 15 gonna say something on a negative role, even when there's no negativity there. You know what I'm saying? 85 may give you an A. That 15 is gonna find something to do to give you an F. You understand what I'm saying? Not about a B. So you gotta take it, let them talk. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, they went to go pay their money to watch it. And that's just my thing when it comes to that. You know what I'm saying? I heard the movie was well thought of. And look at the box office. It's $52 million. $52 million. You know what I'm saying? Ziggy M picked the people to play the role. They're saying that the person that played Rita Marley they could have found that person in Jamaica. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, she's an amazing actress, though, man. Like she's been in some bangers. Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't see that. I didn't see what the issue was. Yes, this is part. Yes, this is Bob Marley, and we would have loved for everybody in the country. And Jamaica are talented. We have the little island there is we have some talented people on that island. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to certain things like this, they probably couldn't find the person to fit those roles. And they have some people in Jamaica that's in the movie. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they can't speak the patois like, I probably could speak it. You know what I'm saying? Even me, when I go home, bro, and people talking to me in patois, it's so faster. You know what I'm saying? It's so fast. I have to catch it. Like, oh, okay. I mean, I catch the first two words, but I catch the third word, but I know what the first two is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because I'm not there every day to listen to it like that, Yeah, a week. I'm down there for a week. I'm spending 2 weeks. Yeah. I'm right back into the fold after the first week. You know what I'm saying? So, like I went to KFC. You can't go to Jamaica and then go to KFC, just to let y'all know, right?
I know.
KFC's the thing down there, boy. You know what I'm saying? Y'all want to eat some good chicken, go to KFC. I land.
They got jerk.
I land and I go to KFC. You know what I'm saying?
They got jerk at KFC?
No.
It's funny. There's entire message boards about going to KFC. They say the best KFC in the world is in Jamaica.
Wow.
They use a different 13 herbs and spices down there.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna say this here. There was the artist when Chris Brown went down to Jamaica, right? Chris Brown brought what's the name with him because I think he wrote for Chris Brown. Big boy, Sean Kingston.
Oh, Sean Kingston. Wow.
Right, Sean Kingston is Jamaican.
Yeah.
Right. So Sean Kingston put on a lot of weight. You know what I'm saying? He put on a lot of weight. So now he's a big boy. Imagine me wearing my pants off my butt. You know what I'm saying? I have on my Louis belt, but my you know what I'm saying? It don't look right.
No, thank you. I don't want to picture that.
Right. Now, don't picture that. That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? You can't picture that, right? So imagine, you know what I'm saying? I'm Sean Kingston, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to walk the stage, and I can't even, I'm running out of breath. You know what I'm saying? This dude coming back up on his private jet, this dude have 2 buckets of chicken. Man, you know, the media was going. I can Google that. Because he have it on his plane or video. He had buckets of KFC bringing back to the States, bro. That's how KFC is nice. On real talk. You know what I'm saying? But it's one of those things, man. You just have to love it, man. The movie's great, man. I think the movie's great so far from what I gather. And I got some good sources, man, that I watched. And they fair about their assess to the movie. You know what I'm saying? So far, I watched some vloggers that's very fair, and I have those vloggers who are trying to get their numbers up and stuff like that. So they're going to be negative sales. So they're going to try to mix it and do this and do that. So when you know the difference, when you know better, you do better. You know what I'm saying? That's a new thing. When you know better, you do better.
That's right.
Not make sure that stuff cloud your mind. And a lot of Jamaicans, the ones that's out there, their mind get clouded. They didn't think of what they say their own self. You know what I'm saying? They listen to other people and they say, oh yeah, and they run with it. You know what I'm saying? I see it with my family now. Me and my family, man, we argue all the time because I have my own opinion on certain things. And sometimes they feel like you're not supposed to have your own opinion. You know what I'm saying? So my opinion is my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I used to tell my mom that all the time. I say, that's how you think. That's your opinion. I can't take it away from you. That's your opinion. But my opinion is this. You know what I'm saying? I'm disrespectful because I don't agree. Well, y'all going to have a long time dealing with me because I'm going to be disrespectful for a long time. You know what I'm saying? That's my opinion. And it's not like I'm cursing at my mom or my auntie or this. I just disagree. I just disagree with you. You know, and I say, I know I disagree. But, sometimes the Caribbean, I ain't got time for that, man. This 2024. You know what I'm saying? I've been on my own since I was in high school, kind of. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I know better, so I'm going to do better, But the movie's cool, man. The movie's cool. I'm glad it came out. I'm glad it's out. And I'm glad it's doing well in the box office. And it's the first weekend, 52 million. By next weekend, it's probably over 100 million. You know what I'm saying? Who to tell? You know, probably gonna be one of the Eyes movie. The Marlins, they're gonna get a Grammy for it. You know,
yeah,
they're gonna get is it Grammy? A Grammy? What do they call it?
No, Oscar.
Oscar, right?
Grammys music. Yeah.
Music. Okay, yeah. They're gonna get an Oscar for it.
I mean, the soundtrack, they could get a Grammy for the soundtrack. So
yeah.
You know,
so that's my piece on that, man.
Yeah. Man. Yeah. I mean, I'm not getting paid to say anything about this movie, but I'll just say, hey, just go out and watch it. I know I'm gonna watch it at some point. Check it out.
I want to throw this out there about so I was watching last week, the brother that plays Bob Marley was interviewed. And, they asked him to come on Good Morning America, and they were interviewing him, and the reverence he had for the role, like he initially like turned down like even being offered to audition. He was like, nah. He said, because I'm not Jamaican, you know what I mean? I'm not from Jamaica. He said, I don't speak patois. He said, I have so much respect for the person of Bob Marley. He was like, you know what I mean? You know, but they said, you know, Ziggy wanted to audition. So he said, you know what I mean? So he auditioned. They worked with him. You know what I mean? It wasn't like he faked some, you know, Jamaican accent or patois. They worked with him, not just on having a Jamaican dialect, but they wanted, you know, they made sure he listened to a lot of Bob Marley himself to be able to, you know what I mean, to have his dialect, his, you know what I'm saying, kind of his tone and his inflections and stuff like that. So he showed such a reverence for the role. And then one of the last things they asked him to do in the interview, they said, "Oh, can you speak a little patois, kind of like, you know, and close us out?" He's like, "I won't do that." He said, "I have too much respect for Bob Marley and the role, you know what I'm saying, and Jamaica." He's like, "Yo, I won't do that." You know what I mean? So to me, you know, when people can feel how they want to feel about, you know what I mean, the fact that it wasn't, you know, a Jamaican, but when someone shows your culture that respect, you know what I mean, it's, you know, I think it's
speaks volume.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He's showing the kind of reverence and respect that you want, not on, you know what I mean, from someone who's
like, this not a joke to me. This not another job for me. This is
exactly
lifetime.
This wasn't a job. You know what I mean? This I approach this as an honor. You know what I mean? So for me,
and the family handpicked him too. Yeah.
To me, that spoke volumes to me about, you know what I mean, you know, just what went into the production of the movie. I'm looking forward to going to see it. I remember, so growing up, if you go into Black people house, they got Jesus picture, you know, or what we grew up, you know, with the depiction of as Jesus, and then Martin Luther King. When you go, my friends who were Jamaican all had Bob Marley, had Bob Marley picture growing up,
and Haile Selassie somewhere.
Yeah, and so I remember asking, I'm like, yo, why does, you know, I got to college and my close friends and Brew and y'all know my crew from freshman year, man. You know what I mean? I was like, yo, bro, tell me, why does every Jamaican have a picture of Bob Marley in their house? And so that was when they started to really educate me about Bob Marley. Like, you know what I mean? I had heard different songs, but like kind of like similar to you said, Kareem. I hadn't really listened to the words. I was like, oh, it's a vibe. Like, you know what I'm saying? It you know, your ears will enjoy it. But when
people love smoking to it, that was the big thing, right? Back then, they just want to smoke to it.
So
but it was bigger than that.
My friends would. You know what I mean? Everybody that know me know, never drank, never smoked. You know what I mean? So I would sit around while they did and listen to it. But it wasn't until then, like, again, even when I was younger, I had heard songs, but never really listened to the words. When I started listening to the words, you know what I mean? Yeah, the man was, as Bruce said, he was wise and he was ahead of his time, beyond his years. You know what I mean?
So, so I watched in the interview, listening to Bob, and he was saying they were asking him like, "Yo, dude, as a Rastafarian, do you gotta smoke ganja?" Da da da. And yo, Bob gave one of them answers. I was like, "Yo, that was kind of dope." I said, "I mean, I don't smoke either. I never have." But he was like, he goes, "Yeah, man. You know, when you smoke," and I'm not saying how he said it, but he was like, "Give you time to think." He goes, "Every time you take a puff, you just give yourself time to think." And he was saying like you can't do that with alcohol because alcohol make you intoxicated. But like even like
You could do it with juice though.
but how he did but how he
That was a
answered
good
that
excuse
question
in there.
right, but how he answered the question though, it wasn't like he just answered it, like he gave like a philosophical answer. I was like, yo, Bob, I see what you did
He
right
was
there.
a thinker. The man,
Yeah, exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
watch the interviews of him, man. The man was a thinker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, he had perspective on every aspect. You know what I mean, of life in the
Every
globe.
aspect. That's
Yeah,
right.
you know what I mean. You just, you could listen to him, and again, he was knowledgeable about it. He didn't just have, and he didn't just have breadth. He had depth of understanding of the issues that we faced. You know what I mean. Locally and globally, as descendants of the diaspora. You know what I mean. So
Yeah.
I think Bob Marley, man, the dude, he was transcendent, and it's unfortunate that his life, you know what I mean, ended when it did. But we're grateful to have such a legacy through his music. You know what I mean. My favorite song, you know what I mean, is Redemption Song. You know what I mean. He's, won't you help me sing these songs of freedom? You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Just the words, just listening to him. You know what I mean. The man was, again, he was profound, and I think to have someone attempt to take your life, and then the very next day you show up at a benefit concert. You know what I mean, that the reason they were trying to take your life, you know what I mean, was to prevent you from attending. You know what I mean, and still show up. You know what I mean, because again, when my friends started putting me on, they told me, my boy, you know what I mean, if you know him, he don't do altercation. And so he said his mom would tell him, when they were younger, growing up in Jamaica, during election time, she would say, "Run home from school," because that's how intense the you know what I mean,
Elections are.
yeah, you know what I
Yeah.
mean. So she said, "Run home from school." And so for Bob Marley to have this peace rally and have both candidates from the opposing parties, you know what I mean, on stage with him, you know what I mean. Again, it just shows, you have to be a special kind of unique kind of figure to have that kind of respect across parties and platforms, to be able to get both on the stage like that, man. You know what I mean. There's I understood after really, you know what I mean, being around them and learning about Bob and really listening to his music, you know what I mean, why those houses I grew up going into, of friends of mine whose families were Jamaican, why Bob Marley was you know what I mean, was a picture that they had in their house.
Bob was that guy, man. John and Peterson, man, they hated me. Buffalo Soldier, boy. These dudes know Buffalo Soldier, man, backwards. They can sing that joint backwards. And they know how to dance to Buffalo Soldier too. Thank John Peterson about Buffalo Soldier.
Think about this. Buffalo Soldiers it was an American thing, you know what I mean? Like, he knew the history of African descendants in this country better than a lot of the African descendants in this country knew their history.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's that I was trying to teach John about the Buffalo Soldier. Peterson and know some things about it. And that's why I asked him to listen to that song. And that's one of my favorite songs.
Rest in peace to Pete, man. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
Skateboard
Peter knows some things. And I was trying to teach John about it. And I was like, yo, listen to the words, man. You know what I'm saying? And then, John messed it up, try to fall asleep. And, that's how I used to get him.
Lights out.
lights out. You know what I'm saying? So, being a boy, man. That boy, I love that boy. So that's how, man. He like Buffalo Soldier, man. He used to be like, man, whenever I hear that song, boy, I already know. Yeah.
Yo, my favorite song is I Shot the Sheriff, man.
I Shot the Sheriff.
That's one of my favorite songs, man. And just like thinking about that song, man, he said I shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot the deputy.
Mhm.
And you think about like the violence that has happened in the last few years, man. Like how basically he was
Kareem, man, where you coming up with this stuff, man?
That's the real song.
That is what he said.
No, but that's
It is, but man, Kareem be having the most random. Man, Kareem said it. Listen, you're never gonna live this down, man. We were in a meeting, and Kareem and they were going around and said, okay, each meeting.
Yeah, you gonna bring this up right now?
Each meeting, like they would ask one person on the team, like, okay, we're gonna start the meeting with like icebreaker, whatever, and so the icebreaker would be whatever that person's favorite quote was. And Kareem's quote was, "It ain't no fun if the homies can't have none." And to this day, I'm still not fully. I still don't understand. I'm like, and maybe I'm just.
I gave an explanation for it too.
Yeah, and it makes even less sense to me now than it did then.
Yo, man, shout out to the LBC, my cousins out in California, man. LBC, stand up. Shout out to them.
Shout out to LBC.
Long Beach, California, baby. Hey, bro.
So when did Bob Marley die? He died in what was it? 81?
81.
That was
May,
before.
May 15th, 1981.
Yeah, he had melanoma. That's what.
Yeah, so that was before both myself and Kareem were born, right?
Yep.
Right. So we're talking about something that's over
43 years, going on 43 years.
Yeah.
43 years, making a brand new movie about him that everybody's talking about, right? And the fact, and with everybody talking about it, this brings back the nostalgia about who he was and his music and the times that that he was in, right? But also like the progress that he was able to help the country make. So it just speaks volumes to who he was as a man, who he was as a human, and the legacy that he was able to leave on this world, man. And just to be able to kind of think about that. And when you think about legacy, there's so much that we do every single day, right? There's so much positivity that we try to bring, within our circles, right? But there's certain individuals that are able to expand so far outside of that. And he was definitely one of those, those individuals, man. So just, being able to, kind of hear some of the stories, hear some of the stuff that y'all are talking about that I haven't necessarily heard. I know I'm about to make a joke out of this, but hearing all these things, I might actually go to the movies and watch this and not get the bootleg. So shout out to you brothers, man, for almost potentially changing my mind.
You said something I think that was powerful though. You said something heavy, man. This man has been going on 43 years. And when you think about the fact that there's a movie that's now being, that's now out about this man's life story. And instead of embracing the idea that, here's this man's story who can now be told to a whole brand new generation of people who can be influenced, who are going to go and listen to his music, watch his interviews, learn about who he was, and embrace the culture that much more, the music, everything about the culture. You know what I mean? You got folks mad and upset and beefing about who and I get it. Representation matters. I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not ignorant to that. Representation matters. You know what I mean? But it's like, okay, if we there's only one Black-owned production company that I'm aware of in this country, and that's Tyler Perry Studios. And so unless we're producing and telling our own stories, you know what I mean?
You got Harpo.
But I don't think she's a I don't know if she's got her own production studio. I think she's got a production company. I don't know. Tyler Perry has his own actual
Yeah,
studio.
you're right. Yeah, I think
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But my point is just simply that I feel like with representation, we have to sometimes, you know, it comes in bits, right? You know what I mean. Our victories come small sometimes, and we have to, you know, take the win. You know what I mean? Where we can get it, because if we don't take the small wins, right, then because the other end of the spectrum could be they're not putting out stories that depict, you know, us at all. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then we'd be like, oh, there's no movies with us as leads. You know what I mean? With stories about us that we can connect to.
That's
you know
been
so
happening for years. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's, you know what I mean? We just kind of, you know, yes, we understand. It's similar to the argument about when Colin Kaepernick took a knee. We're not saying it's the worst place in the world we could possibly be, but while we hold you to task to get to where we ultimately trying to get, you know what I mean? We should be able to do both. We should be able to say, okay, hey, listen, yeah, we here and we're gonna make the most out of it, but here's where we need work. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It can't. We just can't be complete sour about it. You know what I mean? That's the thing is.
That's what Bro was talking about earlier, though.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. Let's not be all, you know what I mean, complete anti on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you.
I have a question for you, man. This is off the topic. Did we ever find out how much money Colin Kaepernick got from the NFL?
$90 million.
Woo! He was still trying to go back and play. From what I saw, they said he was trying to.
Yeah, he deserved to. He deserved to. But you know, there was no way they were going to let him.
They already paid him $90 million. They weren't paying him again.
They owed him that. They owed him that because he would. Trust me, you don't win lawsuits and settlements unless you can prove. Right? And you got to figure. You're talking about Roger Goodell himself is a lawyer. He's the commissioner of the NFL. He is by trade a lawyer.
I know that.
I mean, you have the most high-powered. You got billionaires who own these teams.
Yeah,
Rudy Giuliani was a lawyer too, though, and you see where he is.
Well, you know.
Hey,
is he locked up?
He not paying none of that money back too.
So you know what I mean. So I'm just saying that to say
neither is 45.
When you have that much money available to you to afford to put towards defense, and you end up having to settle for $90 million, it means that this young man was going to prove that they had colluded against him.
It's institutional racism, man. Well, hey, we get down towards the end of the show here, man. Man, this is a good conversation. I know we didn't get a chance to talk about BGLOs, so we could do that at another time because there's another topic we want to talk about with that's been brewing for the last, I would say, couple years in terms of people who have at one point joined an organization for whatever their reasons are, and then decided that they did not want to be part of it anymore. And I think it's a good conversation to have in the coming weeks, you know, just to have it, because it's a conversation that's happening. And I think that it's good for us, as all of us here as brothers, to have it. But then we also want to bring on our dear brother Ken Sayers as well. Pastor Sayers, want to bring him on and have this conversation at some point. So just want to put that out.
Well, listen, I denounce taxes, so that's
here you go. See, you can't even you can't even help yourself.
Listen, man, I denounce taxes. I'm done with that. I'm done with that whole institution, man.
Yeah,
Uncle and Sam.
Hey, guess what?
In the words of James Waters, they can get these. Yo, shout out to Big Brother Bama, man.
Yeah, man. I thought we was gonna have him on here tonight, man, but he ain't answer. So I take it he busy. But hey, let's do some shout outs before we get up out of here, because it's definitely top of the hour. Who we want to shout out?
I don't have my device in front of me. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna just shout out everybody who watched. Y'all can name names and all that good stuff. Everybody that watched. I want to shout out, you brothers, man. You are some amazing brothers. You know what I mean? Much love, much respect. I want to shout out my sis, Brandy. Happy 12-year anniversary, sis.
It don't matter because it already happened, so we good. It don't matter.
Doing it big. I wasn't out here, so it don't count.
It count.
It don't count.
It already happened.
Kareem said everything I did, all that money I spent, it count.
It count. It count.
Man, and since we talked about, you know what I mean, our kids and stuff, man, shout out to my boys, man. I love them. I love on them, you know what I mean? And those dudes, they make me who I am, and alongside the most amazing life partner, wife, spouse I could ever ask for. Satoya, love you, girl. Appreciate you. And let's keep riding. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can go ahead and make another one if you want.
Yeah, as soon as you do. Yeah, absolutely.
Listen, well, I'm about to go on a cruise with the family, man. So me and Ezra, we're gonna try to make another one, but it ain't gonna work.
But
man, it's like bullets with no gunpowder, huh?
Ike, whatever you say that, Ike, it's just one brother in mind, man, that came up, man, and he's an idiot, boy.
Listen, not a care in the world. Not a care in the world.
That boy shooting movie bullets.
Yeah, listen, y'all over there shooting stress. Be careful. Be careful. I'm not sure who this brother is, but Darnell Lamar was in the chat, man.
Yo, yes. Shout out to yes. What's good, bro?
All right. He was in there early. Vincent, always comes in. He came in a little late today, so he came in at an odd part of the conversation. But
we gonna bring you on, man. We're going to bring him on, man. We definitely got to talk about the justice system for sure.
Absolutely.
We just got to pick a good time to do it. But Vincent, man, if you watching, we're going to get you on, bro. And shout out to him too, man, because his dad was our fraternity brother, man. And we know he had passed a couple months ago. So shout out to him, man, and his family.
Absolutely. Who else do we have on here? Brother Sayers, Brother Ken, man. Thanks for tuning in.
All the way in Texas.
And sis Brandy, she said, thanks, Bilel, since you ain't got your device in front of you. So I'll pass the message on to you because Kareem wasn't going to do it.
Kareem a hater. Kareem a hater.
Nah, man, I'm a hater all day.
Kareem a hater, boy. Hey.
Oh, man.
Hey, let me see. Ike, you finish, Ike? My bad.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. I think that's, yeah.
You want to shut out the wife, man. Shut out the wife, Ike, man. I ain't going to be like BGLO.
Oh, no, I did. I told y'all we about to be.
On the cruise.
Yeah, he did.
All right, my bad.
He covered all bases.
My bad.
He covered all bases.
Shout out to my sister Ezra, man. I miss your cookies. I ain't going to lie. I miss them cookies.
Bruce said he missed your cookies, Ezra.
And Brock do, too. You know what I'm saying?
And he said, and Brock is black, too.
No, I didn't say that.
You was a wild.
I did not say that.
Isaac is a wild dude.
I just know that one time me and Brock drove up, man, and Ezra baked. I think me and Brock, man, we crushed some cookies, man. And Brock was like, "Yo, bro, you want to try these? They good." Man, I tried them things, man. They was gone. You know what I'm saying? Ezra was like, "Hey, I could have them." I said, "Oh man."
You know what's funny, man? We're gonna get famous later on, man, and they're gonna look back at these shows. They're gonna be like, "Yo, what were these dudes talking about?"
Listen, they gotta know exactly what I was talking about because I'm saying the same thing.
By then, the cookies gonna be famous too.
There you go.
Yo, before we get off, Brew, hold up, Brew, you still shouting out?
Go ahead.
Yo, listen, man. NBA, do better, man. The 3-point contest, man, amazing. Shout out to all the 3-point contest shooters. You know what I'm saying? Dame Lillard, congrats on number 2. Yeah, Dame time. Shout out to the greatest shooter ever, man, Steph Curry. Dude is lights out. But that slam dunk contest, y'all did the brother top and dirty. You know what I mean? Y'all needed a name like Jaylen Brown that was recognizable in the final, so I get it. And Mac McClung, you know what I mean? He won, but you know, to try
I
to
didn't even watch that, man.
Yeah, it was. You didn't miss nothing.
And I'm not gonna watch it in reruns either, man. It just,
Yeah.
these All-Star weekends, man, are whack. There was a clip I saw about with Kobe, and he was like kind of reflecting on his All-Star experiences, and he was pretty much saying like, you know, the All-Star game now is it's pointless. It's just a whole bunch of people going out there and just trying to, you know, just shooting the ball. There's no defense. He said when he was playing with Jordan and, you know what I mean, Jay
Oh yeah,
Kidd
them
and
cats
all
was
them,
hooping.
like,
Oh, they was hooping.
Marbury, AI, man.
Showing you the
It's
best
like they
amongst the
wanted
best.
to win.
Yeah.
Like they wanted to win. It was a competition. Like the scores were 110 to 115, right? You still going around. You still got the highlights. You still got people dunking, man. But it was
211, man.
It was a competition.
Yeah,
like literally, it's like at a, if you were in an open gym, right? You know, people just running up and down the court, 1-2 passes, somebody shoot a 3-pointer. 1-2 passes, somebody shoot a 3-pointer. And these are all NBA players, so a lot of them are going to go down. But how exciting is that, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And nobody's playing defense.
Here's what bothers me about it is just putting it on the players, though, right? The NBA has to stop scapegoating players and say, listen, what can we do to incentivize this in a way to make players want to be more competitive? You know what I mean? Stop saying, oh, you know, I heard you know, one of the well-known personalities from our community talking about, you know, the NBA players are already making money hand over fist, man. These owners is making 10 times that, and so is the league. So stop putting it on players to make it their responsibility to have to figure out, you know, ways to make the game more competitive. Incentivize it the same way I feel like, you know, the
now, y'all know y'all brought up the NBA. There's gonna be another 15 minutes.
Right.
You know, y'all brought this up.
Another show.
We gotta save it. We gotta save it though,
we'll
because
pick it up next week, man.
Yeah, because you making good points. We don't want to gloss over.
I wasn't feeling that how they was trying to make it, you know, like the players responsible. Like, nah, the league got to do better. Do better, NBA.
Yeah,
shout out to the NHL.
Yeah, shout out to
the I mean, see more randomness from this dude.
Hey man, shout out to all my friends, man, and family members in Rochester, New York, man. Full Gospel Tabernacle, my pastor Ernie Walker, senior. Shout out to them. Doris, Sarah, Rachel, Mother Grant. Shout out Peter. Much love to you guys.
No doubt. Shout out to my beautiful wife, Brandy Hayes, that I'm married to for 12 years. Hey, I want to shout out to I'm gonna do it now because I always get nostalgic around this time, even though my anniversary is coming up next month in about a month, in 8 days. Shout out to my dean and ADP, Bilel Smith and Dr. Leonard Brock. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But shout out to y'all, brothers. Shout out to Brew. Shout out to Isaac, who came afterwards, but he was in class.
Watching this dude suffer.
Shout out to my alpha angel, Sophie. Shout out to her and her family. Shout out to everybody in the Rho Alpha family chapter. Shout out to all them brothers for show. And then, you know, I'm gonna let you live on your last part because I'm not gonna take that from you. But yo, man, shout out to Jesus Christ, bro. That's who I'm shouting out. Babe, I shouted you out first. Hold on now. Hold on.
She said that was a quick shout out.
Hold on. Listen, I said it with such distinction.
No, it wasn't as grand as my, like, I be going in.
Listen.
You know
Listen, all right, hold on. So now I gotta go. Shout out to my beautiful
just get a pillow. Just get a pillow and hang out in the attic.
Married for 12 years. We had an amazing time.
Hey, Brandy, stop that, Brandy. That brother did that thing. Yeah, that brother did his thing, Brandy.
I did my thing this weekend.
You did your thing in there. You know what I'm saying?
Rhino, Canada.
Number, cut that out. My boy did his thing, man. You know what I'm saying?
I got a whole nother kid on the way, man.
Come on, we did stuff that makes kids normally. We did it all. I love you.
All right, let's wrap this thing up.
All right,
man.
yep, wrap it up.
Shout out.
Yeah,
I need to shout out my mom, who her birthday is coming up this Wednesday, man. So shout her out.
Mom's
as
birthday
well.
Oh
Wednesday?
yeah, shout out to mom, Joe.
Absolutely.
Shut up, mom, man. Tell mom I miss her too.
We'll do. And then obviously a special shout out to all the Black people doing some amazingly Black things in this Black History Month, even though we got a couple them other presidents' birthdays popping up in here. But definitely go out, support Black, buy Black, be Black. And if you white, get a tan.
See you next week.
Blessings, love, peace.
One love.
One love. It's all about love. Go check that movie out. Bob Marley.
Yo,
Life.
this dude be
Check the movie out.
he done left the studio and left
Bob
us
movie
alive.
out, guys.
And he didn't end the show.
Yeah,
Check Bob movie out, guys.
And we can't end the show.
And
yeah.
we can end the
Who
show.
gonna